Women's History Month comes to an end, we wanted to add our voices to the others with our advice for the young women and men coming up in their careers. I'm Barbara Fox, and today I'm speaking with Rafaela Werlang. Rafa is an SE leader. Hey, Rafa.
Hello.
So I wanted to have this discussion because I've been working for more than 35 years and I still love my work. I think it's interesting. I think it's challenging. I'm proud of the work I do. I feel like, we built the internet, we bring people together, and it's awesome. Why did you want to have this discussion?
Oh, Barbara, thank you for having me here. And I think it is very important to talk about why we love our jobs and to talk about the love that we have for our careers and what's important to all of us. I have three nieces, and my desire is that they find jobs that they love the same way I love mine. And as well, I've been around for a long time. And of course, there are things that I don't like, there are things that I love, but I try to look at the big picture. And every time I'm always more in love with the things that I do.
It's awesome. All right, so let's see what advice we came up with. So the first one is find a job that aligns with your interests and values. You decide what's important to you. Do what you love. You'll be doing it for a long time.
Sure. Everybody's goal is to achieve happiness. If your job doesn't make you happy and proud, not even for a part of the day or the week or the month, then you are not in the right place. Your career should not be only about money, about salary, about benefits. You should think your career to be about what you like, what moves you, what is your purpose in life.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different things that they like. I don't have the diabolical genius required to be a good QA person. I mean, QA people love breaking things, and it's just not how I think. And then I have one friend who would volunteer to take notes at architecture meetings. There couldn't be anything I would want to do less than that. But she liked to do it because it gave her control of the narrative. She could write what had been decided. And also she could work with the people making the decisions to make sure she understood everything. And then those talents really benefited her later when she became VP of engineering at a company that sold to service providers. So you have to really go with what is important to you, what you enjoy doing. Only you can make that decision.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. You have to find a job that you like, and you have to understand yourself and know exactly what you are good at. So it doesn't matter if you like something but you are not good at it. This is not something that you either be better at it, so you work to get better, you study and do courses and trainings and so on to get better at it, or you just find something else.
True enough. Okay, our second point, periodically reevaluate your decisions. As you grow, your interests may change. That's normal. Set new goals.
Yeah, and I think that circumstances in life may change your goals as well, or they can change the time that you had set for complete those goals. Maybe you are thinking about a promotion, but then you think that focusing on an MBA or in a specialization is better. So that's okay. You can change your plans, you can change your goals, and you can change even the time you set to complete them.
It's true. Your priorities might change, and so that might change what you're looking forward to. That's great. Okay, our next one. If you're ambitious, work for people who are ambitious and who are ambitious for you.
That's such a great advice. Look for not only a team that aligns with your goals, but a company that aligns with your beliefs as well. Look for people that will inspire you, that will challenge you. Of course, you have to do the same for others. There are a lot of people out there that are just in need of an encouragement or a challenge the same way you do. So don't think that everybody get their things together. They are just like you. And if you are looking for encouragement, if you're looking for a challenge, if you're looking for someone to inspire you, there are people looking at you for the same thing.
Exactly. It doesn't cost anything to be generous. For me, this was really important. At one point, I wanted to get into standards work, but I just didn't think I was smart enough. And my VP was like, "What are you talking about? Of course you're smart enough. Go do it." And it changed my career. It changed what I thought about, what I worried about, the solutions that I was interested in. And I'm so grateful for him. It was a small thing for him, but it made a huge impact on my life and made me much happier. So I really think it's an important thing for people to do. Okay, our next one. Your career is a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes you need to take a step back, and that's okay. But if you can, step back, don't step off. It's easier to restart from a slowdown than a complete stop.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes the best move is actually a lateral one. You should not see your career as a straight ladder. It's more like a mountain and you're climbing, but sometimes the path that you were going is so hard that it's easier for you to look at a different path. Trying to go laterally, trying to go to one side, to another side, find a different road, step back, or step to the side to see a different path. Maybe you will find in that way, you will find a nice cabin in the middle of the mountain and you decide that you are okay there. You don't need to climb anymore. And that's okay too. So don't worry about it. It's not a race. You are not competing with anybody. It's your career. You decide your move.
That's a really good point. And then the other thing I would say is that, also take into consideration the companies you work for. If you're working for a startup, you're going to need a lot more energy. You're going to need to dedicate a lot more time than if you're working for a different type of company. So you should also take that into consideration.
Of course. And if you were working for a startup, you were probably on a fast track up to the top of the mountain as well. Going higher in a company that is larger it takes more time than going higher in a company that is smaller.
That's definitely true. It's a lot easier to be seen in a small company than a big company. Okay, so if you're interested in new opportunities or getting promoted, cultivate personal relationships with the decision makers. Many people will be qualified, and it's the people with personal relationships who will succeed.
Yeah, one advice I always give to my mentees is to understand the major roles that are in your company and always look for people that are doing those roles well. So you look at them and then you think, is this something I would like to do in the future? Is that position, is that role something that I'm interested in? If the answer is yes, then you should ask for someone to introduce you, or you go there and introduce yourself. Get to know that person. Ask more about their job. Ask more, tell him or her that you are interested to work in that specific group or that specific career path or that specific position. Even if the position doesn't exist, even if they don't have any idea when a position is coming. I think that the more you talk to people and understand what they are doing, the more the people will know about you and remember about you when that position actually comes. So build this relationship before the new position exists, and you're halfway there when it actually comes.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I think this is actually the most important piece of advice that we're sharing today. Now it is more difficult, especially if you're working remotely. It's more difficult to form personal relationships. And it's also more difficult for women because we might go drinking with our peers, but we rarely go drinking with decision makers above us or go golfing or whatever. So you really have to work hard at it if you want to, because that's the way a lot of decisions get made.
Yeah, the same way it is harder to make this personal relationships. I think technology also enables us to talk to people all over the world. So you don't have to be in the same room. You don't have to be in the same country. You don't have even to be in the same time zone of the person that you want to talk to. And in my experience, you can always reach out to someone, ask for 15 minutes, ask for a half an hour, and explain that you are looking to talk to that person because she or he is a role model to you and you would like to know a little bit more about their role, about their job, and about what they are doing. And nobody will ever say no.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's so true. People want to help people. I mean, that's the way the world is.
And people that love their jobs, they love talking about it.
That's true. It's true. All right, our next piece of advice. If your manager or company deliberately cheats you because they can get away with it, find a new position. If they cheat you, they'll cheat their products and their customers. You want to work for people with integrity. And by cheating here, we don't mean that everything has to be absolutely fair. That's not achievable. We're saying if you're being flagrantly mistreated, and you're really the only one who can decide that.
Yeah, I would add that if you feel cheated or mistreated, speak up. If not openly, if not to your manager or your manager's manager, at least file a complaint. And if the company that you work for can't be trusted to treat fairly a misconduct complaint, then what are you still doing there?
Exactly. Sometimes you just have to give it up. That whole thing about Maya Angelou, if someone shows you who they are, believe them and then act. All right. So our next one, you are not an imposter. If you have a job, you're qualified. And if you find your work challenging, enjoy knowing that you're growing and learning.
Yeah, and I would say that it's so rare to find a woman in a position where she's not qualified. It's usually the other way around. One thing I noticed is that men usually are able to fake it longer if they are not qualified, but women, we kind of drop the mask at some point. So we are not able to keep the charade for long enough. If you are doing your job well, it's because you're either qualified or even overqualified for it.
Yeah, I think that's true. And you have to understand that you're not always being hired for what you know. You might be being hired for how you think, especially in networking. Things are always evolving. There are new problems that have to be solved. And if you've thought about these problems before, even if you haven't come up with this new solution, you have the capabilities to do it. So you should always be reaching, because it's not always what you know. It's really that you're able to think and do the new work.
Sure.
Okay, our next one. Don't be hard on yourself when you make mistakes. It's not who you are, it's how you learn. If you don't try new things, you won't grow.
Yeah, making mistakes is learning. Just don't panic. Own your mistakes and correct them if you can. This actually shows a lot more about you than the mistake itself. The way you behave when you do a mistake, the way you own it, and the way you try to correct without pointing fingers to anyone, owning it and correcting it, it says a lot about you.
That's so true. And the other thing is you learn more when you make mistakes. I mean, when you make a mistake, you learn what not to do. If things go smoothly, a lot of times you just don't learn as much. Okay, our next one. So role models and mentors don't have to be women.
Oh, yeah, sure. Diversity is key, in my opinion. You have to look for different people, different experiences, different countries. You will learn a lot. If you always talk to the same people, if you always look for equals, you will not learn anything.
Yeah, that's true. I go to different people for help in different matters. And I would have to say that my role model is Joel Halpern, who is a distinguished engineer at Ericsson. Now, I haven't really worked with him in 20 years, and I actually never worked at the same company, but he is extremely smart. He's kind and he's generous with his time and his knowledge. And that's who I want to be. That's the person who is my role model.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome. All right, now our last one. You define success for you. Be proud of yourself and your work. Do your best and expect great things.
Sure. And as we said, goals change. So don't hang up to the child dream of being an astronaut and get all frustrated about it. But don't give up on your dreams if you can. Just plan, adjust, grow, and be happy. Look for the purpose of your job. Don't expect every piece of your job to be fun and exciting. We all do boring things. We all have to deal with Excel spreadsheets. And I usually think when I'm doing that, wow, that's what I'm paid for. So we don't have to be happy all the time. Do not look only at the financial goals that your company have. Look at the big picture. What do you bring to the world? In our case, we work with technology. So we offer solutions that use less energy, less space. We are connecting people. You are offering this to the world. You are helping people get educated. You are helping people get in contact with technology. When you look at the big picture, this lighten up your relationship with your job, even if you have to do some things that are boring sometimes.
It's true. Well, we really, we want to see more women in better positions, making more money, doing work that really interests them. And that's our wish for you.
Yeah, the same here. I want to see more women growing. I want to see more women happy and owning their careers and not thinking they are in the wrong place or that they are an imposter, that imposter syndrome. Let's forget about it. Ladies, you deserve where you are.
Exactly. Thanks, Rafa. I really appreciate you doing this with me.
No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It is very important. And I think we are open to talk if you would like to reach out. As I said earlier, people that love their jobs, they love talking about it. So
true enough.
Here we are.
All right. Thank you. And thank you all for listening. Appreciate your time.